Welcome with the Passion Week. This is a week organized by the Christian Union Ichtes in collaboration with other unions and with Kronos tonight. Welcome with the Passion Week. This is a week organized by... We'd like to go in a conversation with you today and later today. So please enjoy, listen, and feel free to ask your questions. We use Slido in the presentation. So if you have a question during the talk, just log in Slido and ask your question there, and we can speak about it later. I will introduce the speaker to you. Today, Tiemen Verbree, sitting next to me, is going to speak here. He's from Groningen, he's a Christian, he's married with Rahel, has 2 kids already, Aaron and Lea. I'm informed, right? yeah, I'm informed. In his daily life, he's involved with the student union, where he is a coach, and he focused on the question: what does it mean to follow Jesus in my daily life? So that's something he's very interested about. Next, he plays guitar, and I heard him play this morning. It was quite well, and he loves to build things in his garden. Yeah. Likes to play Dungeons and Dragons, or likes to read a book. I think the audience likes the Dungeons and Dragons part better because I heard some noise.
I'm a DM. We're at the moment in the Feywild, for those who want to know.
Nice. Now I have one question for you. What is your relationship with this topic today?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I knew you were going to ask the question, of course. So the topic is, how do you form an opinion? My relation is I form opinions all the time. Yeah, so whether I want to or whether I don't want to, and especially in the second occasion, it is interesting to think about it. Why do I have this opinion? What is the result of the opinion that I created, and how does that relate to, for example, the people I form an opinion about? I find this the most interesting one. Yes. This is one of the things, yeah.
Nice. Before we go into listen to Tiemen, I have just one small note. There are on the tables, there are those in cover books. There are in English and in Dutch. So if you have an English version or a Dutch version, but you like to have the other one, just look around because they're in both languages. So you know. Well, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. Delighted to come here and talk in Eindhoven. So yesterday morning, afternoon, somewhere around that lunch, I arrived and I started to get in conversation with people to get to know Eindhoven a bit better, and the students of the university, because I am from Groningen and I have an opinion about students based on Groningen. But of course we're in Eindhoven, so I need to create an opinion about where we are, for me to be able to connect. Therefore, so I asked some questions. I found it very, very interesting to talk with people from a technical university, which we are not. We are the business economics, we do energy and that kind of stuff. But let's dive into the topic of today. So, what is your opinion about white chocolate? Anybody? Tasty. Tasty. Disgusting. Yes.
It's not chocolate at all.
It is not even chocolate. Wow. Wow. So okay. Well, good to hear. I'm curious where these opinions are based upon. You know, so we could have a whole evening discussing whether chocolate is nice or not, or whether it's chocolate or not, and we will go through facts and not. But anyways, okay, we do have an opinion about white chocolate. That's beautiful. What is your opinion about Eindhoven? Modern? Hm? De gekste. Not exactly the prettiest. Okay. Okay. How do you come to this opinion?
After seeing it.
Yeah, okay. It has to do with your perception of beauty, doesn't it? So, and what is your opinion about Eindhoven? Annie?
Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad.
Has a rich history.
Rich history. Okay. Okay. I was reading about where Eindhoven, the name, came from. Maybe the river or the patch of land at the end of a place I was reading about. So, okay. What is your opinion about Lampengat? Boo. What? And another? Party. Okay. What I'm doing is showing you different pictures with the same question. But for me, based on the picture, I get a different association to the place I am referring to. I think it has something to do with the way we form opinions. And party was not in the first place, but in the first place we were talking about modern and how beautiful the city was, yes or no, and so on. Different things that we that pop to our mind if we talk about Eindhoven. Different ways you can look at Eindhoven as well. Tonpraten. Then to go further about Lampengat. During Carnaval, it is a tradition to have this, tonpraten. I don't know whether you are familiar with it or not. I was not. But what it is that somebody is going to sit on a barrel and they are going to talk their opinion about the current state of politics in the city. Current state of affairs. So what Carnaval will do in a week is in the opening offer a podium to opinions. Well, whatever you will think about this, there is many things you can say about it. There's one person on the barrel. Does that help? Is it okay for that person to have that opinion? Or why are we having opinions about the current state of affairs? Does it help? All kinds of questions about opinions. But probably he had to create an opinion. I want to do two things today. First, I want to go in a little bit of a more practical sense, and it feels for me a bit of a lecture kind of thing. So it fits with the setting, but there's many lectures, so I hope it is a bit interesting as well. And second of all, I'm going to be more personal about an opinion that I have. So that is for people who like the structure, you know what to expect. First of all, we're going to talk about opinions and how do we form them from, I think, a scientific point of view. So let's hear what an expert say. I thought this won't be enough. Just a second if I say it. Yeah, but this is good. So we saw it already, it doesn't matter. Yeah, do the next slide, that's good. So an expert, but we don't know which expert. So who knows Daniel Kahneman? There you go.
He was in my youth lecture course. He has written a very important paper about bicycling.
There we go. That is cool. You know. I saw a hand over there. Yes?
He's a professor in psychology and how the mind of the brain works in decision making.
Okay. Back home, I would say to you, if you know it, you can Google it. So you go faster than we are. So, but we could have staged this, no? That I know you when you say this. So I thought, let's make it a little bit more clear. Yeah? This is Professor Daniel Kahneman. So you know that he exists now. Maybe I took a picture of my grandpa and I put him on, but we can now verify, is this Professor Daniel Kahneman? We don't know. Okay, I think it is. I think it is. Back home we can check it again. So, but still, I thought it would be good to tell that he has a psychology he studies the psychology in judgment and decision making. That helps, because if he's an expert in agriculture, and we're going to talk about creating decisions, this would not really help me. And I could say he's an expert, but an expert in what? So it may help. Another fun fact, he is not a Nobel Prize winner. So I thought this does not help. So we do have an expert, but how can we trust he is an expert? How can we trust his, for example, intellect on the topic, and so on? Well, there is many ways to prove that. You guys are going through a process in which your intellect is tested, and therefore you are getting degrees, hopefully at some point, and then you can show that you are an expert. Well, he is not a Nobel Prize winner, but luckily he is a Nobel Memorial Prize winner. So I thought maybe that gives a bit of authority to him. Because I'm going to state a little bit from him. I am not the expert on why I form opinions, but he is. So let's listen to him for a bit. He says, there are two systems. And he says we have a fast system and a slow system. He also says we believe in the conclusion because we believe in the argument is not true. He says most of the time we believe in the argument because we believe in the conclusion. It feels completely the different way around. What he has discovered is that he says what we are describing as the truth is the state where we can acknowledge there is absence of doubt. Let's go into this a little bit further. So the two systems. We have a fast system and a slow system. The fast system is how we see the world. The fast system perceives and immediately deals with that. So the fast system sees a flower and with me thinks this is going to be spring. Boom, there it is. Or I see a person and I see the things they wear and I form an opinion about them. Or I drop the sentence, or I drop the word God. There you go. Yeah, you all are forming opinions very, very fast. This is the way we live. This is how we deal with everyday life. It runs our mental life and it produces and maintains the world around us. So, the way this system works is not per se on logic. It doesn't work with reason. It works with emotional and associative coherence. So it tries to make a coherent picture of the world around us by relating to emotional and associative memories or maybe opinions or whatever that we have formed before. So I was reading the fairy tale of the girl with the matches. I don't know whether you know it, but it is a very sad story. I read it 2-3 days ago to my son Aaron. I could not finish it because it related to my emotion very much. I was not thinking about it. There was no logic. I was just going to read to him. I know it's a fairy tale, but I was crying halfway because it was just so. In the world was then for me associated, the real world, with this story. I didn't plan to do this, but it happened. It was very fast. What it also does is it suppresses ambiguity. For, which I will explain, the slow system comes in play then. But if you have ambiguity, then there is a clash in your head. And this is a very, very difficult way to live. If you have to make the world coherent all the time, but it is not, and believe me, the world mostly sends you ambiguous stimuli, as Professor is saying. So this slow process is trying to make it a coherent world. If this is not possible, then we go to system 2. Very fast as well, but then we start to ask the help of system 2. System 2 works with logic. System 2 is the reason system. It is what you probably do if you hand in a paper. You have to do research, you think about stuff, because you cannot just write a paper straight away. So, the slow system needs attention, works with logic, and uses therefore the logical coherence, not the coherence just that we emotionally or associative find, but it makes a picture that we did not understand after research understandable. Watch this, or listen. Yeah? She approached the bank. Everybody in their head is trying to make something out of this sentence now. First of all, it's just been words, yeah? So we already have a system that is creating these words into associative things. Many of you, I presume, thought of the institution running money in our world. Who did? Okay, there we go. Maybe I was talking about fishing. And I was not meaning the financial institution, but I meant the river bank. But you, in your hand, with your fast system, created a picture. If I would have said, she approached the bank and fell into the water, your system immediately would say, help. What water, where, bank, money. And the logic system would try to fix this and help you think about fishing. Maybe, if you know. If you don't know the word in English for riverbank, you would have more problems trying to fit this. I will have an example from Professor Daniel Kahneman himself in a bit. It's funny. It's not as funny as I could think of, so I thought let's let him talk. Second thing Professor Daniel is talking about, Professor Kahneman, I need to say, is on the next slide. So, about arguments and beliefs. Professor Kahneman said that there is a beautiful test we can do. So, we're going to do this one quickly. Yes? Reply. All roses are flowers. A. B. Some flowers fade quickly. C. Some roses fade quickly. In 1 second, is this true? Hand up. So, it isn't. Is there anybody who can explain why it isn't true?
You're essentially saying that if one statement is true because of another statement, it does not mean that another statement that's true because of those statements can be true if they're put together.
Yes, indeed. So all roses are flowers. That is true. Yes, please.
Aren't roses bushes?
So if I give one to my wife, I give her a flower. If she watches this back, she thinks, okay, do that. But then I have to bring a flower back now. But all roses are flowers. Let's say all roses are flowers. We discussed this with the biologists or the others of the world. But some flowers fade quickly, which is also true. But it doesn't. It could be very well that all flowers that fade quickly are not roses. And this is possible. What Professor Kahneman is telling us is that 80% of students on English universities reply to this answer as, yes, this is true. Why? Because it is true that some roses fade quickly. We know this to be true, and therefore we jump to the conclusion that this must be true as well. It is in real life, but it is not necessarily so because it's stated here. So, what Professor Kahneman says is we think that we reason in the following structure. Arguments come first, and then we follow up with beliefs. But he does a lot of experiments showing that it is very often the other way around. We believe in arguments because we believe in the conclusions. One of the things that is interesting to me, and it is not very comfortable to me, but most of the things that you believe, and let's say I believe, you believe not because you know them to be true, but because you believe the people that told you it is true to be honest and expert in that area. You trust them. So one example for me is, I have never been to space, but I will definitely, if I ever go, put on a suit so I can breathe. I do not know. Maybe I can breathe in space. I don't know. But the people who say that they have been there tell me that it's good to put on this. I would even ask them, have you ever tried? I don't know whether they tried. Another thing, and maybe it relates to the technical university a bit more, but I wonder, whom of you ever saw an electron or a proton? I think this is true, that nobody saw this. But who believes electrons and protons exist? There we go. The question would be, why do you believe this? And I think you believe this because people that you trust said to you this is the case. Okay. The last thing, we're going to listen to Professor Kahneman, so we really know that he is real, to talk a little bit about the absence of doubt. And the question I'm asking you is, are you certain?
System 1 is characterized by exquisite sensitivity to context and by a tendency to create a single interpretation that makes sense. And my personal experience, and my favorite experience actually of priming, favorite example, because I don't think there are many published examples that are better, is something that happened to me personally a few months ago, where my wife and I went to dinner with a couple, and then afterward we were exchanging notes, and my wife said of the man in the couple, he is sexy. And okay, so and the next thing that she said was truly extraordinary and really bizarre. I mean, she said, he doesn't undress the maid himself. He doesn't undress the maid himself. That was very, very odd. And I was trying to understand how on earth, where did that come from? Now, in fact, this is not what she had said. She had said he doesn't underestimate himself. But the single word, sexy, had created a context within which, being slightly hard of hearing, I found it possible to hear a sentence that fitted the context extremely well. Now, what's important, I think, about that story is that I never doubted what I heard. I knew what my wife had said. There was no question about it. The only question, and that's where my system too was working overtime, is why on earth had she said that bizarre thing? It did not occur to me that the facts were different. It did not occur to me that she simply had said something else and what it might do. So my slow thinking was alerted because of the incongruity, and in this case, I failed to make sense of it.
Stay with us. We're back online. Hello. So I thought, do I know this? Well, I know for sure that I thought that I hear stuff that my wife said, and therefore we had a fight. And now I think maybe I misheard. So that is a possibility. I will bring it back to her. She believes probably that she did said something else. I was looking at the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. I found this nice in relation to the certainty. So the Heisenberg certainty principle I do not understand fully, but what I have learned from it so far is that we cannot say to a perfect 100% certainty the velocity and the place of a particle at the same time. For some people this might be, oh yeah, that I heard before, and it connects to your world. For me this is quite new. I just had the idea that particles could be at different places at all times, but this is not what he's saying. What I found interesting is that if we're trying to get certainty about the one aspect, for example speed, we lose certainty on the other aspect, namely location, and the other way around. So we have to deal with a certain level of uncertainty. This we know. Well, Schrödinger's cat comes in play in my head. I don't know whether it comes in yours, but so the question is, are you certain? And why are we asking this question in this week? Of course, because we're going to talk about things that we believe to be true. And we want to get into a conversation with each other. But I think that the way we get into this conversation is a fruitful one if we realize that we are coming from different positions, that we create opinions in a certain way, and that therefore we can listen to each other and respect each other. So I have two questions, and then I'm going to share a little bit about mine. I hope that we can get into conversation about these questions with each other. Maybe the time in this location is limited, but then if you think it is nice to talk about it, let's move out of this location, find coffee, and talk about this at a different place. But the questions that I want to ask, I know this. Do we need an opinion? We're talking a lot about an opinion, but do we need one? There is many things to which I don't have an opinion, and I don't think that I need to have an opinion. Maybe it is good to have an opinion. I don't know whether the world in which you are living is giving you the idea that you should have an opinion. I find it a daunting prospect to have the idea that I have to have an opinion about everything, because everything, in my opinion, is a lot. For me, I would like to ask the following question. What deserves your opinion? This helps me to narrow down to a certain question that I want to answer, that I feel the need to answer, to investigate, to talk about, to get other opinions about, and therefore structure, create, and build my opinion. So my question to you, just let it sink in for a few seconds, maybe a bit, is think about this one. And then I'm going to share you a thing of which I find very much importance to form an opinion about. I come as a Christian, And I think it is a very important question to answer. Who is God? Maybe you think it is more important to even ask the question, is God? For me, why I find it so important to answer that question, because if God is, that has a huge impact. So if the answer is yes, okay, then it's worth investigating, because I then find God interesting or annoying, maybe even, or difficult or incongruent, but I want to understand and maybe relate to. I'm going to help you a little bit about my way I formed this opinion. This is why I believe. I believe in the story of Jesus Christ coming to this earth as an image of God, dying, and after death, living again. This is what I believe. Explain. So I want to tell you it fits. Yeah, I'm aware of the fact that Kahneman says you are not working with logic and system 1 at the first place. It fits. I'm going to read some things with you from Mark. So it fits historically. I'm not going to do this for you, but on page 3 of this little booklet, you can ask the question, well, can I believe this book to be real? Did we do some science to investigate whether we can trust the words written here? Or is it just a fairy tale that we made up? Have a look at this. Search for yourself. Don't believe my answers, do your own investigation. It helps me with a perspective on humanity. Morally, it helps me to create the idea of what is good and bad. It has a perspective on the brokenness of humanity, so why there is so much pain. I lost a friend 3 days ago. This is difficult. I see that the morality of the Bible does two things, and I want to read with you first from page 52. We see that James and John, two followers of Jesus, come to him with a question. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. "Teacher," they said, "we want you to do us whatever we ask." Jesus, clever as he was, I think, said, "What do you want me to do for you?" And they replied, let one of us sit at your right hand and the other at your left hand in your glory." "You don't know what you are asking," Jesus said. "Can you drink the cup I drink or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with?" Difficult. "Yes, we can," they answered. And Jesus said to him, "You will drink the cup I drink and be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with. But to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those to whom they have been prepared." When the 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. They were jealous. What? You're going to have the left and the right? Jesus called them together and said, "You know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be the first must be the slave of all. For even the Son of Man," and he says it about himself, reading, even God himself, "did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." This is the world upside down. If we step into a world in which if I want to become more, I need to serve you. I need to ask in the first place, what do you need? There is many things in this world that are now going wrong that will be healed. Page 62. There is somebody asking Jesus, what is the most important thing? What is the most important rule in life? And Jesus replies, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. And the second is this. I'm reading at 31 now. Love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. I find this difficult, even with my wife and my kids. But what if we would live in a world in which we truly love the other in such a way as we love ourselves? I believe testimonies, the Bible, like I've been reading with you, this book, Mark, for example, investigate for yourself. And I believe in present testimonies. Dirk Kruithof at the moment is doing research about miracles after prayer. He is on the University of Amsterdam doing that. If you want to investigate, do it. But investigate, like I did. And if you think it is worth to talk about this, because this is my opinion, and it needn't be your opinion, let's talk about this further. And that is what we want to invite you to. Take this to investigate for yourself. Write down on one of these papers maybe what you thought of what I said, and if you think I want to talk further but I don't have time now, leave your number, contact address or whatever so we can get in contact. And if you want to talk further now, well, I'm going down and I'm going to have a coffee with anybody who would like. So feel invited. Maybe ask the question to the person who is next to you or wears one of these sweaters. I think some people have an opinion about how long I talked, and I didn't promise to talk this long. But I hope that I stirred a little bit of interest. I hope that it was okay for me to share my opinion. And I'm very curious to hear yours and talk further.
Yes, thank you very much, Tiemen. We had one question to Slido, and maybe you can have a very short answer.
Not my strength.
Okay. I will cut it off otherwise. If arguments follows beliefs, how do you ever convince someone, and how do you influence someone else's beliefs?
Okay.
I don't know if the person who asked this question is in the room, because if it's a long answer, I would say just take a cup of coffee together and discuss it. But
Yeah, that's my question.
do you have time for a cup of coffee?
15 minutes?
Maybe then,
that's cool.
and maybe in that case, you can discuss this during
talk about it. Yeah,
something to
cool.
drink. Yeah. Then, well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the lunch. There is some bread left over, so if you want some, just take ahead. There are some uncovered books on the table, which you've read. Just allow, if you are interested, they're free to take with you. We have this week planned more events. So tonight is the debate night with Kronos. On the flyer, it is that the location is right here, but that's not true. It's an auditorium tonight. So if you're interested to come tonight, please go to auditorium, and then we have this debate night with Kronos. We are in the locations 8, 9, 10, and 11, I guess. Oh, 9 till 12. but you will see us there. There are these white cards on the table. We like to have some feedback from you. You can also fill in some contact information if you want to know more. If you say, well, I want to talk more about this, more about Christianity. After this week, there's also an Alpha course where we can talk more deeply on Christianity. But if you're just interested today to talk more about this subject, you say, well, I have a different opinion, or I see this differently, or I just want to know more, you can join us downstairs in the Hubble to drink a cup of coffee. If you're interested, you just wait on the other side of that wall, and then we all go down together. Then we know who's wanted to talk further. Because there's a new group coming in here in 1:30, so we need to leave this place. So thank you very much for joining us.